So the last people up here, their live demo didn't quite work, so we're a little bit nervous about that. So what we're going to try and do is not only do a live product demo, but do some live coding that requires Wi-Fi and the internet. So we'll see how it goes.
Cool, so a little bit of background. We're Sidekick. We're building a code quality and security workflow. And first off, who here is technical, vaguely technical? Okay. Who can write JavaScript? Ah, good, you don't know what you let yourself in for here. Who is willing to come up and write some terrible, terrible JavaScript?
Excellent.
Come on up.
Willing volunteer. Round of applause, please, for our unwilling volunteer.
Okay, so what we want you to do is we want you to implement this incredibly complicated add function. It's going to take two numbers, we're going to add it up. I want you to stuff as many JavaScript gotchas into this as possible. Just chuck in, yeah, known kind of bad style in JavaScript.
Just write the worst code possible.
Yeah. And so if you're not a coder, the kind of interesting thing about code is you think it might be like extremely, rigid and easy to kind of write correct code. But actually, all kind of coding languages are full of potential gotchas and pitfalls. And our tool allows you to kind of write code happily, just being creative, getting the code done, and then it jumps in just before you share it with your team lead and your CTO, who's going to humiliate you in front of everyone and tell you off, and it's going to save the day, hopefully. Just like a little roadblock sidekick who's extremely pedantic about code, knows everything that could go wrong. So this is a good code at the moment.
That's too good. So we're going to actually, thank you very much. We're going to make this worse, I think.
Yeah, that's too good. Okay, round of applause. Thank you very much. Excellent. Yeah. I'm going to step in and write some terrible code. Quickly. Yeah. So what are we going to do?
So we're just going to make this as bad as possible. And then it should all just work.
Cool. It's looking pretty awful.
Okay.
Nice.
Right, so for those people who aren't technical, a kind of a modern software workflow is you do changes on your machine, and then almost like sending an email where you say, hey, these are the changes I've done, what do you think? People use a version control system like Git. We're adding files that we have just changed. This commit here is basically it's like the subject of an email. This is the work I've done, a little name for it. Some terrible code, okay? And then what you need to do is you need to push code. What that means is you then share it with your team or potentially the world if you have an open source repo. So we've jumped in here in the command line and we've said, hang on, that's not great. You probably shouldn't share that. So what you can see here is the code that Tim just murdered, and it's telling you there's problems with it. What you're not seeing is all the code that you've written that day or whenever. These are just the lines that you have changed now, and these are the problems in those lines.
Yeah, because one big thing about code analysis is you normally are faced with every single issue in the code base as it stands. And if you've done any code at all, you'll know there'll be hundreds of issues years and years ago from people who don't even work for the company anymore. And you don't want to spend your day just fixing tiny, tiny issues in other people's code. You really want to fix your own issues that are going to get you told off in code review and get on with your day. So that's exactly what we do. Thanks to the power of Git, we know exactly what has changed. We analyze only those lines, and hopefully we give you helpful help. Now in this case, I hope this is down to the Wi-Fi. We have no idea and we can't give you any help, but hopefully this will be full of lovely in-depth help. And with that lovely in-depth help, we will then go and fix the issues. So you can see it says expected triple equals or double equals, and in real time it's reanalyzing everything, fixing all the issues for you. At the end of the workflow, everything goes green, everyone's happy, yay, which is good.
So there's no problems now in all of your code. That's great. So if you share this now.
So what we're doing here, push, 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 is actually sharing the code with the world. So we kind of blocked the original push. You can see now on the terminal it said everything's pushed, everything's fine. And we can go through to our lovely online. Now this is Sidekick running in the cloud. Get some buzzwords in there. So Sidekick works on the desktop. That was all desktop. No one else could see that stuff. But now it's also going to be running on our wonderful robot build tool that's going to continuously analyze code. And basically what we're going to see is when the build, I don't know if the build's actually going to start. There's a big queue of code. This is a kind of free cloud system. It will run, you can see over here, here's Sidekick starting up, downloads all our analyzers. Just a note for technical people in the audience, our analyzers are as simple as a program that takes in your code on standard in and chucks out the analysis as JSON on standard out. So if you have some already written analysis code for your esoteric, crazy OCaml or Haskell, whatever, you can just wrap it in 20 lines of code and Sidekick can already start using it. So it kind of supports all the platforms. We don't actually do the clever stuff of the analysis. We just do the getting the analysis and stuffing it into a UI. So once it's downloaded the analyzers, it's going to run through stuff that's interesting to people who actually run the business and kind of need to be responsible for its kind of customers and security and its reputation. Will be interested in stuff like this. So it's got security violations being picked up here. Again, this is all automatic, so you can actually prevent this from being deployed to your systems. And therefore, in this case, this is effectively the access code to your server. The kind of thing that happens if someone gets access to your server is the LinkedIn hack you might have seen a couple of days ago, where there's like 17 million emails revealed to the internet. All kind of bad things. Yeah, there's not much else to demo, really. We can configure, it's quite a nice configurable piece of software, so it doesn't just kind of brutally tell you off based on our weird standards or anything. You can define it. You can say, okay, CoffeeScript should be able to fail our build and prevent the software from being deployed. Code style shouldn't. Security definitely should. That kind of thing. And everything's configurable again, because it's no fun being told by a robot that you're wrong, unless you can configure it to make it friendly and applicable to your team. Yeah.
I think we've got 10 seconds left, so that's it. Thank you.
Amazing, guys. Thanks, man. Brilliant double act. That was seamless. Any questions or comments? Come on, this is what this is all about. Feedback. Awesome. Nice one.
Hey, love it. Just a quick question. What is the difference between the other current solution like CodeShip, besides being a standalone program on the client side?
So Sidekick can run on any CI server, so something like CodeShip or Travis or Jenkins or your own custom or TeamCity. So we're agnostic as to what cloud infrastructure platform you're building on. It can also run on your desktop, be it kind of Mac or Windows or Linux. So we wanted it to be able to evaluate any possible language written by anyone on any device and then evaluate it anywhere. So whilst CodeShip will build your code, you still have to write all the DevOps to say, right, run this, run my tests, and then run these analyzers. If you find these issues, then this is a potential failure. What we wanted to do is almost instant DevOps in a box. So to get Sidekick to run against your code base on a CI server is about 12 characters. It's literally npm install Sidekick, and then it's Sidekick run. That is it. We find out what code you've written, what type of code. Is it JavaScript? Is it TypeScript? We will download the analyzers that we need onto your CI server. We will then run them and then give you an output and potentially fail your build. So we'll do that all with just one line.
Nice one. Any more comments? Give me a second whilst I run round.
Hello. So as someone who writes code like quite fast sometimes, I think that this is awesome. And I was wondering, can you add this in Grunt as like another check? When you do like yes, lind, and you do the same. So I suppose that it's kind of similar, but also actually check the quality of the code.
Yeah,
See?
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's got a full kind of command line mode, so you can run all the same analysis on the command line. And yeah, you can wrap that with a grunt shell Sidekick run, and you're done. Again, like a single line.
Brilliant. Done. Happy customer. Nice one. Any more? Cool.
Hi. So when it checks the quality of your codes, checking things against, say, like a style guide is one thing, but can it do anything more sophisticated, like look at the conventions that the team are already using, and kind of, if you're working in lots of teams, because that's where code reviews, someone might suggest, like, this is how we usually do it, and it's not necessarily a style thing, it's more a convention for that team, and that's what would be really useful to me, I think, something that could kind of make those suggestions.
Well, again, because we don't actually write the analyzers, we thankfully have left all those much kind of trickier tasks up to the community. And the challenge of doing it well for every language is basically too vast. So we basically leave that up to the community. And there are tools like JS Code Style, actually, for JavaScript, that can detect your code style and build a config around that, which is quite nice. So again, just kind of leaving it up to other people is quite a good strategy in some ways. Yep.
Thanks for that. And one more at the front.
Can you just clarify whether it executes the code at any point?
No, it doesn't execute the code.
Any more? We've got time for one more, I think.
Can we ask a question?
Please do.
So if you are currently coding, we would absolutely love it to come in and work with you a little bit, hour or something, and set you up as a beta tester. That would be awesome. So would anyone be interested in doing that?
Raise those
Current customer
hands.
team. Cool. Okay. If you are, could you email me? tim@sidekicksrc.com. Just say hello, and I'm pretty sure I'll get back to you. It'd be really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sidekicks. Do it, guys. It looks like a brilliant service. Loads of potential there. Thank you.